you were the engineer and one of the driving forces behind the album "Bangin' on Wax." You said some things in the masterclass that was so prolific. I had to bring you back on the show today. Just talk about some of the things that you experienced putting that album together, man.
Okay. First of all, the person who was paying for the record was named Ronnie Phillips. And Ronnie had a best friend, a really close friend named Tweety Bird Loco.
Okay.
Tweety Bird Loco was from Kelly Park in Compton.
Okay.
He was neighbors with Dre and Eazy and them cats. And Ronnie was doing a record on a kid named D, and D was a Muslim. And Ronnie wanted to do gangster type music, and D was with it. But when Ronnie started putting naked white women in the videos and stuff like that, D wasn't feeling that. D shook the spot. So Ronnie turned to Tweety Bird. He said, "Tweety Bird, you should rap," right? Tweety Bird never would tell you he was a rapper. Okay. But he ended up making a record called he was doing some LL Cool J type rhymes, and Ronnie was like, "Nigga, fuck that sitting on the bus stop sucking on a lollipop shit. Well, let's do some gangster shit. Sitting on the bus stop waiting for a bite to drop. Let's do some shit like that." And Tweety Bird took that and ran with it, and he made 187 Drive-By.
Okay.
Right, which is a pretty legendary record. When you look, I read an interview with Scarface, and Scarface said that was his favorite record.
Wow.
Right. So that being said, Tweet comes up with the idea, man, let's do a Bangin' on Wax record, right? Okay. Let's do that. And Ronnie was like, you know what? That ain't a bad idea. Right, so the whole concept came from Tweety's brain, and he was actually the catalyst for bringing a lot of the hoods there.
Okay,
Tweet was the man.
Okay,
whether he got properly credited or not, it's not the issue. I'm telling you, it all came out of Tweet's brain. Okay, because I was working with Ronnie before everybody.
Okay,
right.
What was you doing with Ronnie back then?
Engineering.
Okay,
right. Working with him actually. So. We do this record at Leon Haywood's joint on Crenshaw and Rodeo, which was called, actually, people called it Eve Gym because that was the name of Leon's label, but the actual name of the recording studio was Sunnyside.
Sunnyside, okay.
Right, it is now a Korean hair store.
All right.
Sadly speaking.
So, motherfucker. Anyway, go ahead.
First day of the session, I'm there, because I'm the engineer, I'm always there first. I'm there, and a gang of Bloods come in there, like a gang of Red Rags. It was a Stretch from Bounty Hunters, Big Y from Inglewood, from Family, Crenshaw Mafia niggas, the homies from the Southsiders from Compton. It was just a gang of cats, some cats from Pyru, with no Crips.
Okay.
No Crips, right? And the first cat that was representing the Crip side that came in the door was Domino. Okay. Right. But you got to understand, some of these cats weren't really active gang members. What you mean? Most of them were. Okay. Right. Okay. But it was a couple of cats that Ronnie chose just because they had good rhyming skills. Okay. Right. And they became guilty by association, for lack of a better word. Okay. Right. My girl Nene. What was Nene's name? Nene X. But she was Bloody Mary on this album, right? On the album that we're referring to. Okay. She wasn't an active gang member. She ended up being one though. Wow. Right, from the experience, she chose a side, right? Okay. So it was a lot of people, that were really active gang members, and it was a couple that weren't, right? When David, I think if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong with this, but I'm thinking Tweety called Cluso, and Cluso brought Battle Cat to the table. But like that was '92, man. That was a lot of weed and a lot of beer ago. You know what I'm saying? And so how was the vibe, man? The vibe was really cool. It was some tension at first, okay, right? But everybody knew what the agenda was. Okay. And everybody acted cool. There were no altercations on that first record that I know of because I left the record kind of early. There was a situation, it got kind of tense. Like one time, the one thing about that record what was really great was that it was some classic bagging sessions.
Okay.
Like it was jokes, right? And sometimes them jokes hit home, you know, and I told Stretch from Bounty Hunters, I told Stretch, we got to one of them little bagging sessions. I said, nigga, you can't rap gifts, nigga. And he got hot, right? And he pulled a pistol on me.
What?
Yeah, the pistol was about this big.
Okay.
But it had a clip, like, he said, nigga, you better be glad I'm trying to rap, nigga, because I'm a real gangster, nigga, and I'll kick your door in, and whoop, 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 whoop. And I looked at that nigga, I said, man, I can't even get you to give me a ride home, because you asked me where I live. I told you where I live. You said, shit, I ain't going over there. So miss me, we just put the pistol away and shit, right? That nigga owe me $100 too. Stretch, I need that $100. I hit him for $100 in crap game.
Oh, no shit.
But it was Ronnie's money.
Okay.
And Jay Shanklin interceded, one of the producers. So it was when the record first started, the producing staff basically was Cat, Jay Shanklin, Geek and Noise from Fly Deuce Villain, Clouseau, Box. This is all very long ago though, man. Y'all gotta work with me. One thing that struck me about this particular situation was, I remember when we first fired up the mic, and it was Stretch and Little Joe from Compton, from South. I think it was from Southside. Okay. Right, from over there, and they went to banging, and I stopped the tape, Joe. I stopped the tape, and I looked at Ronnie, and I said, Ronnie, do we really want this, man? I said, we should do this. We should approach this a little differently, right? As opposed to them banging on each other like that, we should be talking about why this happened and what we can do to prevent it from occurring again. But it went straight head-to-head violence, and I knew then that shit was headed for a fucking disaster, right? And I carry a burden of guilt for this record. Me and OG Sinloke was talking about this too, because Sim was there. Sim was one of the first Crips to walk in the door. And with the Freddy Krueger mask and shit, and that nigga scared the shit out of me. And I'm from the streets. I was like, I don't want to fuck with that nigga right there, right? So, but me and Sim was just talking about this, and we carry a burden of guilt for that record, dude.
What do you mean with burden of guilt?
Well, before we did that record, there were no Bloods in Tennessee or no Crips in Philly. There was no Bloods in New York, no Crips in Detroit. That didn't exist. When we did that record was so hot, it took gangbanging global. Right? We started getting fan mail from Brussels, from European dudes, white cats. Like, I'm down with the Crips, I'm down with the Bloods. It was that influential. They did the Maury show, right?
Oh, no shit.
Yes. I was supposed to go, but I didn't really, I had mixed emotions about being a part of that record. And once I did that record, by the way, it cost me a lot of high profile clients.
No shit.
Yes, it did.
Like who?
I hate to mention names, but you know, I was working with some pretty influential people.
Why do you think they stopped messing with you?
Because I was affiliated with niggas that was robbers and gangbangers. Now, you know, they assume, but always been these niggas that they were scared of, but I just never was like that with them. And when I did that record, I stopped getting them calls.
No shit.
No shit.
Did it ever come back around, or did it just?
Yeah, it came back around to me. Like I ran into someone at an event, and I was like, "Yo, you just cut me off, nigga. What's that?" And he said, "Man, you know, you kind of spooked us with that banging shit." You know, and I was like, "I got it." You know.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That they would trip like that. But all of a sudden, nowadays, it's damn near fashionable.
Exactly. It's become a fashionable culture. But see, everybody want to be a gangster until it's time to do some gangster shit.
Yeah, that's true too.
And you know that.
You know, I laugh at cats all the time, man. You had N.W.A. in your living room. I said, if I had a problem, I wouldn't call not one of them son of bitches. I wouldn't call none of them, bruh. Okay, I understood what I was working with. Okay,
what it was.
I experienced that gang interaction back in Centennial, and it got real serious over some stupid shit. I got involved. I had 2 situations that changed my life because I realized the shit that we fighting for, it ain't worth dying or going to jail for. Okay? I'm not, your dog, wait. One of my situations was my partner's dog beat up a gangbanger's dog. And
a dog fight.
A dog fight.
An actual
Two
dog
dogs
fight.
fighting. 2 dogs fighting. The gangbanger's dog got beat up by my partner's dog. because my partner didn't go to the same high school as I did,
it was
they knew we was partners. They was gonna jump on me. They ain't my goddamn dog. Why am I in this shit? Okay. Why am I in this? It ain't my dog. Okay. Well, you was homeboy, and if you was homeboy, you So I end up my homeboy being the kind of dude he was. He ended up going around the corner, and he handled the dude, the dog gangbanger. He actually won the fight, which actually made it worse.
Exactly.
Because now you can't let no civilians beat no gangbanger up.
Yeah, you got niggas on your bumper now.
I can't go to the grocery store, man. I can't go to that.
See, you gotta understand what people don't understand is we are old enough to watch. We saw it begin.
Right.
We saw it start.
Right.
And we saw where it was going. I remember when I was a kid, I was a dancer. That's how I actually got exposed to the business. And I was at a dance at which is now the Hilton on Century, but back then it was the LA International Hotel, right? Yeah. I was at a dance, and I went in the bathroom, and there was a brother about 6'8", and he had a gash in his head that went from the back of his head to the front, about this wide. And he was looking in the mirror, and he said, "Cuz, don't go in the dark, right? Don't get caught in the dark." And I walked out of the bathroom, and Tookie and Barefoot Pookie was out there terrorizing the crowd, right? And niggas had pistols and, and sawed-off shotguns and shit. Them niggas used to take, a leather coat was a thing back in the day. You had a leather coat on, you was a target.
Dude, I got my coat taken. But I got it back though, Mike.
You got it back?
But understand this, the cat that jacked me for my coat, it wasn't even my coat. I figured, wait. I figured my partner, he went to Gompers. Okay, he went to Gompers. They was taking jackets over there for real.
Yeah.
He had to try and walk home down Hoover with that jacket on. They wasn't gonna make it.
No,
but I live right down the street, right down the hill from my school. And I figured if a cat tried to get me, I could make it home.
Right.
So I wore his coat to school with the intentions on buying it. Okay. I'm sitting up there, I'm talking to this girl, like trying to be cool and shit. And a cat caught me, man, put me in a chokehold. I'm unbuttoning this son of a bitch, right? I was buttoning and begging, man, because I ain't finishing my coat. I can't pay for it. I ain't got no money, blah, blah, blah. Huh?
Oh, no.
And, man, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to get this cat off my ass, and I finally got the coat off and was about to give it to him, and my partner from my neighborhood saw me doing, what's going on? I told him what was happening. Man, put your coat back on. And he actually stopped homeboy from taking my coat. And dude that was about to get the coat, they was about to fight over me not giving him the coat. I said, no, man, he ain't in this. That's the difference back then.
Right.
I was a civilian.
Right.
No, man, leave him alone. That's my homeboy. Plus, his mama, I tell us all the time, his grandmama, and my mama went fishing every day together. There was nowhere in the world he could let me get my coat taken.
And go home.
And he was a shot caller at school.
Right.
It wasn't gonna happen. So he had to protect me. Plus we was cool.
Right.
But he had to look out for me, and he wouldn't let the other cat take my coat. But I never wore a leather jacket to school again.
Man, this is what's so cold, dude. After we did that record, because it was one of the hottest records that year, there was a show called The Box. You remember?
I remember The Box, yeah.
Right. And that year, that was the #1 requested record on The Box.
Okay.
Right. And I went to Tennessee to make some records with some cats. And when I went to Tennessee, they was banging. Right. And I had a cat run up on me and he was like, "Yeah, I'm from Piru." I said, "No, you're not, bro." I said, "You're not from Piru. You from Knoxville, Tennessee. Do you know Piru is a street?" He didn't even know Piru was a fucking street. I was in Detroit, nigga banged Hoover on me. He didn't even know Hoover was a street.
Wow.
Right? So that's how influential that record was, right? I went to a store what town was I in? In Louisiana. I go to use a public telephone booth and a nigga had Piru Love written on the phone booth. So that lets you know I'm in a hillbilly town.
Right.
So that's how far reaching the tentacles of that record was. And I call them tentacles because of reason. When we did the Gangster compilation album, right? There were 64 people on that cover of that record.
Okay.
Right. Half of them were dead. By the time we did the compilation, they were gone. And the other half were incarcerated with 25 years or better.
That's deep.
Right. We lost the cat 4 clips. forklifts used to take his bike, ride his bike from Compton, right? Catch a train, catch the bus or whatever, right? And come to the studio, and they killed him, and he was a non-affiliate, right? He was making a gang mending record in the process of making one of those. Each one, reach one, teach one, you know, that kind of thing, right? So ironically, I take part in the first record, and I was doing the very last record that was going to be in the BANGlN Wax series because Ronnie died in the process of making it.
So everybody in that situation got messed up.
Fucked over.
It was no winners in that situation.
N.W.A ended up getting killed on a motorcycle accident. I don't think Danny Girl was an active gang member, but she was the girl that represented the side of the blue. Okay. Right? But maybe she was. I don't know. I didn't try to know these motherfuckers like that because I got my own issues. Right? These niggas is gangbangers, all right? Now, I've been through that as a kid. You remember Rough, Tough, and Dangerous? You remember RTD, the bus line? Yeah. Man, I used to see niggas get mocked on the bus. Check this out. You remember Festival in Black? Yeah. At MacArthur Park? Yeah. I got a wild story for you. I'm a kid though, right? I'm like 13 or some shit. And we sitting on the embankment by 6th Street, and we rolling some weed and shit, and a brother come up and ask us for a cigarette. And I'm standing up, my two partners is sitting down, but when we left the east side, they got on Ace Deuces, right? And they not gang members. Okay. But once again, this shit is not fashion. They got on Ace Deuces, blue leather jackets, you know what I'm saying? They look like Crips, right? We get to MacArthur Park, we rolling some weed, I'm standing up smoking a cigarette, and they sitting down on the hill. The weed is right here, right? Cat came up, he said, let me get a cigarette, man. I said, no problem. I slide him a cigarette. He hit it. He said, you know what? You motherfuckers look like Crips, right? I'm like, what? I'm a fucking kid, right? And I look up and we surrounded, right? And it's just them niggas from different lanes, right? Real rag niggas, right? And they snatched the beanies and Ace Deuces off these niggas' heads and threw them on the ground. It was like, what you want to do about it? And he looking at me, I was just standing there like this, like, say, I'm not dressed like that. So you ain't got no problem with me. And the nigga looked at me and said, you could have got fucked up with your hands in your pocket too, nigga. I'm the nigga that just gave you a cigarette pocket. You know what I'm saying? Right? So the bottom line is they left us alone, right? They gave us a pass. Right. Now I'm mad, right? I'm mad at these niggas because I told them niggas don't dress like that before we leave the house. Okay. Right? Now we on the bus going home. It's Crips on the bus from the front to the motherfucking back, right? Okay. And every nigga that get off the bus getting socked out. You know, when you go to the back door to get, they beating the dog shit out of nigga. I would have rolled that motherfucker to Compton. I wasn't getting off that motherfucker, right? Because there was a gang of them niggas. And once again, them leather coats. Right. It was so many niggas on the bus that I had to sit here, and one nigga, we were separated. And the nigga leaned over to me, and he looked at me and said, that's your partner? I said, yeah, man, we all together. He said, he sure is wearing a nice jacket. I knew then what that business was. He said, I think I'm gonna have that before I get off the bus. And I looked at him, and I didn't know what the fuck to say. You know, it wasn't my motherfucking jacket. You know what I'm saying? I told that nigga don't wear that bullshit, right? So we had a blood issue at the park and a Crip issue on the way to the house. God damn, now check this. Now check this. When we get to 7th and Broadway, the police mobbed the bus, right? Took everybody off the bus that looked like a Crip. Nigga, I'm looking out the window, right? I'm looking out the window, right? They didn't take me off the bus. They didn't take my boys off the bus. On the 95, on the Vernon bus, this gangbanging shit was out of control. It was 2 cats coming from LA High. They wasn't gangbangers. One nigga was in ROTC, right? And the other nigga was just harmless, motherfucker. Yeah, he was harmless, right? And the other nigga was harmless too, but he was hanging out the window, hollering, blood, Pedro Bishop, all that kind of goofy shit. He was playing, but he didn't know what he was doing. When the bus got on Hooper, some niggas pulled up in a 64 Chevy, and they heard the nigga hollering out, because he was only hollering when the bus would pull away, right? They heard him. The motherfucker had hydraulics, so when the Chevy pulled in front of the bus and just laid down in front of the bus, the driver was stuck, right? 3 or 4 niggas got out the Chevy and came on the bus. right?
Just like a Straight Outta Compton.
Straight up, came right on the bus, on my mama, came straight on the bus, and was like, where the Pueblo Bishops at? And the nigga who was doing all the hollering moved. He moved seats, right? Only the ROTC nigga was sitting there, right? And the nigga said, you the Pep, and slapped him. You, and slapped him like 3 times in a row, and he had a sister on the bus, and the sister jumped up and said, don't let him hit you like that, Stanley. And that nigga's homie fired on her and knocked her out, right?
Okay.
I'm sitting there like, wow, this is really fucking happening, right? I was a fucking kid. I ended up going to LA High, getting kicked out of Jeff, going to LA High, and some niggas surrounded me because I was on the east side. I wasn't even gang affiliated at that point.
Right, right. Right?
I caught them niggas. I went home the next day because when I never checked in class at LA High. Teachers thought I was in the girls' classes that I was fucking with. You know, I just go to their classes, right? And it's some funny shit. So the girls was telling me, them niggas from schoolyard, they own your bumper, right? And I'm like, okay, I got something with them. I go home, get a pistol. When I come back, they kind of surround me in the little lunch area. I draw down, they break, right? The next day, they called the police on me. I got expelled from all LA City schools for that fucking pistol. And then I got a gang affiliation on my jacket, on my juvenile jacket, because it was a gang incident, right? So a nigga ended up banging by proximity. Oh, you from Avalon? Yeah, where you from? 47 man. Oh, you was a Crip. You from Fire Trade. You were this, you were that. You feel me? And then see, here's the thing. Before crack cocaine came into the game, it wasn't as violent.
Right.
But once crack cocaine got into the game, it became a whole nother issue.
First it was just territorial and ego. Then it became about money.
Then it became
about
bread.
It got crazy.
That's when it got motherfucking
That's when
crazy.
it got crazy.
That's when it got crazy. And that record was a microcosm. It was a very tiny look into what was happening in Los Angeles at that time with gang culture. You remember Watch Stacks?
Yeah. Oh, I was there, baby. Both of them. Now, hold on. Tookie and Jamil turned that son of a gun.
Turned that motherfucker out.
Okay.
Remember that big ass scene they formed on the field?
But see, I tell people that they tell me I'm lying. It might not. I remember what happened. How that happened was Jesse Jackson. Yeah, Jesse Jackson.
Coalition, the Rainbow Coalition.
Every time they had a deal with the Raiders, I think the Raiders was playing
that was way before that. That was the Rams.
The Rams was playing. This was a Saturday afternoon. Rams was playing Sunday, and the deal was you could have the concert, but nobody could dance on the field. Well, as soon as the music played, everybody rushed down to the field.
When Rufus Thomas hit the stage, they mobbed it.
Okay, now Jesse Jackson tell the Crips come down and form a human chain around the track, okay? And
they took over the whole field. It was so many of them cats, dude. I remember
niggas that weren't even Crips joined the Crips that day.
When I was sitting like I could look on the side of the stage, right? I didn't have a front view, I had a side view. And when they marched in, right? When they marched in, they started going, because they ended up eventually ended up at the top, remember?
Okay, right.
When they was coming up in double file, going to the top of the stadium or whatever the fuck that is, right?
Right.
Whoever was coming down
got bobbed.
Man, they threw one dude down. Man, that's amazing. But we didn't have the technology that we have now to record incidents. But we have witnessed so many incidents at high school dances, so many incidents at clubs, so many incidents where it just jump off. You know, right now it's happening like a motherfucker.
I saw a cat at the Watch Stacks. It was so bad at the Watch Stacks. It was a mob of cats. Guys was actually just volunteering to Crips that day just not to get jumped on. They wanted to be on the winning side because the Crips had the LAPD outnumbered. LAPD put their hands up and just quit.
Yeah, the LAPD backed away from it.
They went set up by the scoreboard and just kicked it.
And you know what? You know what their attitude was? What? Let's let these niggas kill themselves.
People running in the store, they finally stopped burning. The store that I went to as a kid every day. My mama sent me to the store every day. Wasn't the same no more, man. Wasn't the same, dude. The Jewish guy that sold the insurance, he was gone. The store was half tore up, half looted. They didn't do a lot of stuff to the grocery because it was half groceries and half department store. The grocery side had some minimum damage, but the side everybody was messing with was the department store side. That's where the clothes and the furniture was, and it just was. It wasn't the vibe was changed because it used to be a place I would go and hang out and play pinball and shit sometime, and the vibe just changed, dude. And like I said, it had a lot of little shops there. And Sid, his name was Sid. I forgot his last name, but he was a Jewish guy named Sid. He had an insurance store, a record store, and some other little small businesses in there. And they all were gone. Then White Front left. They tore White Front up. Had a White Front right there on Imperial. That was gone. We had two of them. We had two White Fronts on Imperial. One by
what's the White Front? What's White Front?
White Front used to be a department store. Big department store. That was our Kmart back in the day. White Front and Zodi's. Excuse me. If you went to White Front and Zodi's, you had a change. You know, you was hood. You was still hood poor because you still could go get shit on layaway. Y'all heard of layaway, right? Layaway, you put a little something on it, come back and get it when you got some more to put on it. By the time you get it out, the shit be out of style. It might not fit no more, but you still your shit. Yep, that was man, and that was like I said, that was the 65 riots, the 92 riots. I was a grown man, and I just left the tire shop on Avalon. Nelson Gunner bought me 2 tires. You know, niggas only buy tires in 2s, pairs. I don't buy tires full. I never bought a full set of tires in my life. I bought me 2 back tires for my van. Went to my cousin's house, sat in his pad for a minute, watched television, and next thing I know, the city was going up, man. It was then on the way home from his house, it was fire trucks and police flying everywhere. Cops was riding 3 deep. They was riding 3 deep, and the cat in the back, the door damn near stayed open most of the time. They kept their helmets on all the time in the car. They got their helmets on. You know it's serious when the cops got their helmet on all the time. And that's when they beat Reginald Denny right there on Normandy and Florence. And dude, it was going down. Then shortly after that, they started riding. They were looking for places to hit. And a couple of cats got pretty smart on this one right here. They bought a big, one of them fireman saws with the big round blade, and they just and have the motor on it. And shit, that son of a gun. They go to every shoe outlet in the city and hit them up, and that's what they did for the next few days. Was just went through the city and just robbed all the shoe stores. I never understood the attraction of tennis shoes. Why people would risk going to jail for tennis shoes. But hey, man, it is what it is. But I also remember something that was this one riot was really, the 92 riot was really, I observed this one from a distance. I didn't riot. I didn't loot shit. My old man, in the 65 riots, he was like, I'm not going out there. Ain't nobody, nobody can go out there, period. Talking about my cousins. These white folks gonna act a fool, blah, blah, blah. I ain't trying to bury nobody over no damn store-bought shit. But I remember distinctively, I'm sitting at the pad watching the riots on the TV, and news reporters would be out in the streets, and they'd be saying shit like, I'm on the corner of Slauson, Vermont, right here by the grocery store. There's not a cop anywhere. Oh, my God. I'm saying people just run. I mean, dude, here I'm reporting from so-and-so on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson. There's not a cop anywhere. And it's like you was almost telling people where to come so you can get your shop on, or your whatever you want to call it. But the cops, the shop owners, I think it was either the swap meet or one of the down that area. They was like, nah, we ain't going for it. They was on the roof with rifles and shit, man, shotguns and rifles. Come up here, you want to? We going hunting, and they didn't get messed with. But for the most part, the news kind of fueled that shit, man. It was just amazing how they was like just reporting all the locations that were unprotected by the police on the news, broadcasting. Hey, we're over here right now. Come on by. Pretty much, it's free for all.
Same thing they were doing with cocaine, telling you it's a champagne a drug. Yeah, I want to try that motherfucker now. God damn.
Dude, I'm telling you, the news ain't shit. The news, northeast, west, and south ain't shit. They use that shit because it sounds like think about the news. The news sounds very authoritative today, and everybody's always, wear a suit and blah blah blah. They speak very proper English, and depending on who you're talking to, they can gain your trust. Well, today I'm Jerry Dunphy, and we're going to investigate the new drug sensation here and taking over the party scene, cocaine. It's a party drug called the champagne drug. No shit. That's no shit. Okay, where you get it from? That's real talk, dude. That's how they pumping that shit. And it's like, oh my God. Oh yeah, people, you party all night long. It has one effect, you make you tired the next day, but for the most part, it's a great upper. And people, then after a while, people started having side effects, and they started coming up with other different little vitamin remedies like vitamin B12 and shit like that. That became the new thing too, because it was free, it was legal. And people were sticking under their tongue and, getting a little jolt and, that whole little thing, man. But all that was promoted through the news. But I have never seen a cocaine commercial in my life, but I damn sure heard it promoted. That's for damn sure.
That's crazy. If you have any questions for the Godfather of West Coast hip hop, drop them in the chat and we'll get to them around the second half of the show. But I want to keep on the LA riots, Lonzo. But before we even get to the LA riots, let's stick to Watts again. You tell the story once a year. It's personally one of my favorite stories, but it happened during the Watts riots. Tell us the mom and the cocked wig story.
Oh shit. My mom was a no-nonsense lady. No nonsense. My mama had wigs like I got baseball caps. I must have about 30 baseball caps, maybe 40. I don't know. But anytime she get in a hurry, she just throw on a wig, go on about her business. And this particular day, where we lived, like I said, we lived on the side. We lived on a slanted backyard. But my old man had flattened a piece of it out. We could play basketball back there. We didn't have a gate yet. And because I was the oldest one, I was the only one that was allowed to go out in the street to get the ball. So we played basketball in the backyard and ball run out in the street.
Been brought up in the past, but now that it's going viral, I'd love your thoughts on it. They said, and I quote, "Hip hop is the most dangerous job in America." We've heard that before, but when you hear that, Lonzo, what are your thoughts?
Hip hop has been made one of the most dangerous jobs in America, behind the necessity to maintain a low-level street attitude at all times. Hip-hop does not embrace education, man. Hip-hop does not embrace positivity. I just read where a brother out of, I think of Chicago, positive rapper, got killed. I mean, it's just amazing, man, that when you have a situation that is created by us, that's been used against us to destroy us. I mean, remember 2 years ago, every week we were reading somebody's obituary. That was not being, in Chicago. 2 years, was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago, we on a weekly basis, I think we did 52 shows, maybe 49 of them had somebody that was dying. And that's just me and you. These are the ones that, that just got our attention. How many of them didn't get our attention? How many of them didn't make the national news? And when you have a mentality that is has not elevated in quite some time, man, and it's like instead of it elevating, it's retracting. You tell guys, hey man, you can't go nowhere all that jewelry on. But they feel they have to try and defy the local cats. And it's like your boy PB, was it PB? It got killed at Roscoe's. Dude,
PNB Rock.
PNB Rock. You ain't supposed to do no shit like that. Nowhere. Not only in LA. That's like a chick walking on the street butt ass naked on the ground with her legs up and window up and get mad because somebody hitting. Come on, man. You can't, certain shit that don't make sense. Certain shit just don't make no sense. And the stupidity and the ignorance level that is infiltrated hip hop to make it non-progressive and almost, like I said, almost the mentality is going retro as opposed to being expanded with all the different things that have developed around the hip hop era. For us to be stuck on still focused on killing each other or being gangsters at this stage in the game is really not. It's really stupid, man. I'm sorry. Yes, unfortunately I have to agree with him, man. Unfortunately, I have to agree with him, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
It fosters I saw a fool today. Man, Kendrick ain't never gang bang, blah, 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 blah. Nigga, what? That's good. What? You make this, he make it seem like it was a problem because he never gang bang. But he does wear his little red accessories from time to time. He talks a little bit, but he never said he did nothing. But you make it seem like because he didn't do something that makes him unauthentic. But look how far he's gotten from not being from that. He's up there with a lot of people who've been doing this for a long time. He surpassed a lot of people in opportunity, money, and status because he didn't do certain shit. And I'm trying to understand, how is it that nobody can see that? The brother, yes, he's from a certain neighborhood. He understands where he's from. And because he did not gangbang, he's respected for that. And he still show love to his hood. Come on, man. Come on. This man travels the world. He travels the country. He travels the world. Just because the fact that he is a superstar in his own right puts a target on his back. Now you want to put a low-level target on his back by having him gang affiliated? Come on, man. I tell you what. A lot of the artists that you see that decided to go retro gangbanging, you don't see them as much as you used to. They still do their shows from time to time. But I was just watching a movie with Chris Brown and Michel'le and Idris Elba the other night. And I said, that's before Chris Brown decided to become a blood. He was still clean cut. And I remember watching him in that movie, a Christmas movie. The dude had a great career. Then he started getting a bunch of tattoos. You don't see him in movies like he used to. He still does the show. He's still a good performer, but he's stunting his career by with that association. You don't see Lil Wayne. You know he still may do shows, but he probably won't do no Super Bowl. His representation is too limited, man. It's too limited. You know, and when you have that affiliation, it does stunt your growth because you become a risk factor. And business is a risk as it is. Why add to the risk by having invest in somebody who might not be alive in 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, damn. That's deep. Hey, you know what? That reminds me, and thank you, Marlon, for reminding me to talk about this, but it seems like YouTube, Lonzo, is the new gangster rap. And I say that because, all right, I don't know if you heard of it, Lonzo, but there was a shooting in front of the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas 2 nights ago. And it actually started out over YouTube. Now, I'll give everyone and yourself a background of the 2 shows that were beefing for anyone who doesn't know. One of the guys had a YouTube channel. His name was Manny. One of the guys had a YouTube channel. His name was Finny. Now, they've been beefing on YouTube for quite some time, doing hours and hours and hours of content on each other, going back and forth, saying some of the most disrespectful stuff you can imagine. One of the guys, Manny, is from Las Vegas. The other guy, Finny, made a video saying he and his lady are going to be in Vegas. So he taunted Manny, meet up with me. I'm in your city. You ain't going to do nothing. So Finny ends up taking a video, and I may be having the names mixed up. It sounds like the damn Manny and Finny show, but Finny ends up taking a video in front of the Bellagio. Manny shows up on camera, pops him and his girl, and someone else, a bystander, got it. So 3 people hit on the Las Vegas Strip. 2 of them are now deceased. One of them was a YouTuber with about 8,000 subscribers. I mean, you know, that's a great feat, but that's not enough to be, if there's even a number that you should die over. But he died over 8,000 subscribers, Lonzo. When you hear that story, what are you thinking, man?
Man, look, I think that YouTube needs to stop posting any of this negative bullshit. because all it does is incite stupidity like this right here. You know, certain things can't go on television because of the possibility of inciting a situation like what we have right now. But YouTube don't have the same filter, especially when it comes to black kids, black folks. It don't have the same filters. You can't post certain things about certain people on YouTube. You can't do things about the Jewish community, skinhead. You can't do certain shit. But when it comes to us, they'll allow us to go back and forth at the expense of another one's life. Okay, it should be some things that are restricted from YouTube. Nah, this ain't about free speech. If it was free speech, you'd be able to say anything about anybody anytime you want to. Because that's not. This ain't about free speech. It's a certain shit you wouldn't.
All right, next line. One line that means a whole lot. The Eve was where everything started. Break that line down.
The Eve is where everything started, dude. A lot of things were going on before the Eve. A lot of things. We had dances. Me and Roger did dance at Alpine Village, LSD Productions. Somebody talking about Z cars in the chat room right here, but nobody had the consistency and the impact of Eve After Dark. Yeah, people had dances. You danced from 9 to 2, and after 2 o'clock, it was over with. Same thing. I did dances at Queen Mary, Biltmore Hotel, LA Convention Center. After 2 o'clock, it was over with. Nobody thinks about that anymore. The impact on people's lives was minimum. But the Eve After Dark wasn't nothing like that, dude. Wasn't like it. Eve After Dark became a mecca of not only hip hop, but comedy and anything else that was around at that time. And that's why my documentary, Eve After Dark, is so prevalent. It was the beginning of an era. When we opened the Eve, we had 2 hip hop records, Curtis Blow's Christmas Rap and Rappers Alike. That was it. Now, there may have been some others, but them was the hits. Them was the ones people knew. And we, people, hip hop historians will argue, oh man, so-and-so had this. So yeah, they did. But they wasn't kicking ass. They weren't on the radio. They wasn't having an impact. Yes, it may have been other records that did good, but they didn't have the same impact that Curtis Blow's Christmas Rapping and Sugar Hill Gang's Rappers Alike did. And I've always, me and my boy from VIP, Calvin Anderson, we both debated the whole 1973 hip-hop, birth of hip-hop, because in 1973, I was in high school. 1973, 74, we was discoing in LA. We was not hip-hop in the shit. And I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. The birthday for West Coast hip-hop is probably about 77, 78.
Yep. All right, so let's take it up to around that time. A few days ago was the 46th anniversary of the grand opening of Eve After Dark. 1977, is that safe to say?
79.
79, okay, 1 year off. All right, so take us back to that specific day, Lonzo. You know, did you get any sleep that night before? What did you do to prep for the opening of the Eve After Dark?
Passed out a shitload of flyers, hung a shitload of posters. That's all we had was flyers and posters. Anybody gave a dance, we had they set passing out flyers. We had the schools, we had all the various events anywhere in the city, walking the malls, and we didn't have a lot of luck the first week. We had a few people show up, mostly from the neighborhood. I grew up right around the corner from Eve After Dark, pretty much, and they knew me. And we had a few people from Alpine, not a whole lot. We had about maybe about 70, 75 people show up the first weekend. And 75 people in the Eve, because the Eve is a big box, it's open. You can stand in one corner of the Eve and see everything in there. You can stand in any corner of the Eve, you can pretty much see everything going on in there. So there was not a lot of nooks and crannies to stash bodies. So if you got 75 people in a room that only holds 300, it can look a little thin, okay? And we looked a little thin for the first couple of nights, and we started thickening up but we still hadn't hit that plateau yet. It took us a few while for us to hit that real plateau. We had a couple of real good nights, but nothing really happened till after Cameo showed up.
Talk to us about that. That was going to be on my list also. I couldn't remember what act it was that you said turned things around dramatically for you, but it was Cameo. Break that down. How you set that up? You know, talk to us about that whole process again. Cameo to the Eve After Dark.
I belong to a record pool. Record pools that just started getting popular. Record pools when people, record companies give a individual or a club a bunch of records, and they pass them out to all their local DJs, and then you had to report on Monday how the records got a response from the radio, and they would take them reports sometimes to a radio program directors and use them to try and get leverage to get guys to play the records. And my partner, Lewis Harper, still friends of mine right to this day, he ran the record pool. It was called the R&B Disco Troupe. And it was a bunch of us in there. There was a few cats in there that ended up blowing up big time, besides myself. A guy named Julian Jackson, one of the baddest DJs, photographer for Prince. We all was young bucks just coming up. And I had just got the Eve, and Lewis drove a Volvo. And the Volvo had to go to the shop. I got a van, and I can hold all kinds of records in the van. Hey, man, tell you what, take me up to pick up some records up in Century City, and I'll buy you lunch. And we went to lunch. We went to a place called the Black Whale in Marina Del Rey. If you ever been to the Black Whale, you know we talk about some high-end eating. And he had an expense account. So we sit there sometimes 3-4 hours eating and drinking, and they had to carry us up out of there because he had an expense account. And if you don't spend it, they'll cut it back. So, all right, cool, let's go. We go to Century City. I'm on the 20-some-odd floor, and Gerald Busby behind the desk at his record company. And they were promoting the new Cameo record, the one with the light blue one with all the guys on the front of it. I think it was Cameosis, if I ain't mistaken. And in the conversation, I'm sitting there minding my business like I normally do, and Gerald Busby, one of the most powerful men in the record industry, who was Lewis's brother-in-law. Lewis is married to his sister. And he says, "Hey man, I got Cameo coming to town. I got appearances for him on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, but you got anybody can do something for him on Thursday?" And you got the club. He said, "Anyway, you can take him on Thursday." And I'm like, did I just believe? Did I just hear what I heard? I can't believe what I just heard. And I'm like a kid in the school. I said, I got a club. He said, "What club you got?" I said, "Eve After Dark." And Lewis verified, and Gerald knew of Eve After Dark because he used to hang out at Jeffy's. And I'm like, then he asked me, "You want Cameo to come through?" Man, that's like somebody asked, "You want Drake to come through? You want Mary J. Blige to do a walkthrough? You want Kendrick to come through your shit?" Oh man, dude, yes. He says, "Okay, I'll send him out there, send a limo out there for him tomorrow night." I left there, man, ran down to K-Day, bought me 10 10-second spots. All they said was tonight at Eve After Dark, Cameo live in person, Eve After Dark, Elvolano Segundo upstairs, Cameo. They played every hour on the hour, every hour on the hour, live. Didn't have time to make a commercial. That night, we opened the doors to Eve, man, for the first time. It was a line around the gas station because even this time, we had to go to the back door because Jeffy's was still cracking, and to keep the kids from mixing with
last week. But Sly from Sly and the Family Stone passed away recently. What can you tell us about Sly and the Family Stone for anyone who's not familiar with them?
Sly was the coolest dude of the era, man. He was the one black dude that could rock a stadium. If drugs hadn't took him out, he was doing stadiums back in the day. Okay, Sly and the Family Stone was one of the biggest acts. I watched the documentary, and that shit I felt it because I was a kid back then, and he was a major influence musically. You know, dance to the music, sing a simple song. You can sing all that shit, man. All that shit was dope as hell. They had the Sly crossed over where nobody else did, because you got blacks and whites in Sly's band. That was unheard of, dude. Either you had a black band or a white band. Sly had blacks and whites in the band. Sly he had a female horn player. He had Larry Graham on playing bass. I think it was Billy somebody was played with him for a while on the keyboards, and as the drummer was another bad dude. So he had some of the baddest musicians, and he was a DJ. Sly was a DJ out of San Francisco, the Oakland area, up north. And you know, he just had a vibe that was so unique and so eclectic, it appealed to everybody. You know, nobody didn't like Sly. Sly would rock with the rock and roll. He rocked with the Funketeers and the soul folks. And he just had that crossover appeal that nobody else had, man. You know, everyday people. And my man here, Stan, you know, Stan applies today, man. That song Stan by Sly, dude, that's a song that, I mean, these songs resonated for that era. They wasn't this hippity bop bullshit that we dealing with right now. You know, the music of that time reflected the times and the eras. Most of the songs that were written in that era, unfortunately, and oddly enough, still apply today.
Yep. Vista Light says Sly was the headliner at Woodstock. But here's something I didn't know about Woodstock. They played at 4 a.m. because of a rain delay. Did you ever go to Woodstock, Lonzo, or did you ever?
Man, I couldn't go to Woodstock. Hell no. Woodstock, I was like 14, 15. I was a youngster. My mom wasn't going for no shit like that. I wasn't leaving LA County on no bus going to hang out, do no party. No, there they go. Nah.
That's hilarious. All right, man. Let's see. So, speaking of carts, sometimes you could actually hear during radio commercials or when they transition from music to radio, you can actually hear the DJ put the cart in the cart machine.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I remember that.
They have them on these big ass racks, and you had to pull them. Greg, we sit in the station with Greg Mack. They would just stack them up. They pull them different commercials. He had a list of all the commercials he had to play, and he would just stack them up. And you know, he had to pop them in by a certain time, mark them off on the list. You know, it was very primitive, but it worked. It worked.
That's crazy, man. All right, what were some of the magazines, Lonzo, or media outlets that you got your gossip from and your pop culture from back then?
And what's that? What's that shit, man? Biggie Smalls talked about it in his song.
Word Up magazine.
Word Up magazine.
Oh, okay.
We had Teen Beat. We had a couple of them, dude. Oh, you're making my head hurt now, dude. I just remember the art, skimming this, looking at the pictures. I didn't read no articles. You know, we had
Talk to me about Jet. Somebody said Jet, man, the Jet Girl of the Week. I would always go. It was always in the middle of the thing. I would look through the magazine. I knew exactly where the Jet Girl was.
Look, man, Jet. Jet. The girls of Jet were collector's items in any young boy's room, any barbershop, anywhere. When you saw barbershop, when you saw homeboy Keenan, when he played in barbershop and he was sticking them girls on the wall, that was a real move, Doc. That was a real move. You go to Jet Mac, you go to the barbershop, somebody had a Jet centerfold collection on the wall by the mirror. That was just something we did. And then go to guys' houses, and that was the only part they bought. Jet was a little bit small ass magazine. It had 2 features that I liked. Three features I liked. It had one was the centerfold, 2 was the hottest music, and 3 birthdays. That was I just like reading those 3 sections. Everything else y'all can keep, but the centerfold was a must-have. People would go to the magazine stand just to look at the centerfold for the month, for the week. Yes, sir.
Damn. All right. So, what were some of the adult magazines that were around besides Playboy and Hustler and all the big ones that everybody knows? Were there some? I know there were some underground ones that you knew about.
We had Arabian Daddy magazine, Hustler, not Hustler, Players magazine. Player magazine was the black version of Hustler. And they just spent. They had a different kind of budget though. Their budget was a little bit lower when it came to the girls. You see all them. What Corey Holcomb say? You see all that balled up homework on their stomach look like balled up homework. You see all that. Okay. Any bullet wounds, stab wounds. Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot when they came. The makeup girl wasn't. He wasn't on hit. Okay, but here's the crazy part. You knew a bunch of them. You see them. Oh, wait. Ain't that? Oh, that is you. I do a few of them personally. Okay, they come to the Eve. Couple of them came to the Eve. I knew them personally by first names. Okay, yes sir. That was hilarious. Speaking of players, that was the beauty of Player Magazine, man, because they had folks right there in the neighborhood. Let me see. Today, Arabian Prince's birthday. Let me see if I can catch him on the phone right quick.
Oh yeah, that's right. Him and Michel'le Ace were out playing golf today.
Yeah.
Shout out to Arabian Prince.
Hey, Rab, if I Kim Dazelle right quick. Since we talking about his daddy's magazine, give him a quick shout out. If we can get him on the line right quick.
I would love to see a Players magazine nowadays. I got to go on eBay and see if I can get one. Just to, look at it, look at the balled up homework and the.
Let's see if he answers the phone.
I'm sorry, the person you've called has.
That's his crazy answer. He probably called back. But yeah, today is Arabian Prince's birthday, folks. All to the good. All to the good. Yeah, Players Magazine, Doc. They had a deal. I got me. I'm good. I see it. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, now we're good. We're good.
But anyway, yeah, Doc. When me and Medusa get together, it's good to have somebody who has the legacy that she has and understands what I'm saying from my perspective. I know I'm older than she is, but she still understands that there has to be some kind of barriers, man, some kind of guidelines. You just everything just can't fly, dude. That ain't how the game go, but it's going that way, and you wonder why the game is the way it is, because ain't nobody standing in the position of authority. When I was with Larkin, that's why I under respect him. Now, first of all, when I walked to his office, you didn't sit down until he tell you to sit down. First of all, you just it wasn't that he demanded that. That's just how you felt.
Certain respect.
It was always Mr. Arnold. It was never, we never got comfortable. I've gotten a little bit more relaxed with him now. But at that time, it was a whole nother level of respect. Okay. And that's something that when you have done certain things in your career, you ain't got to demand it, because you ain't got to command it, because you automatically demand it, or it's the other way around. You command respect because you don't have to. If you command respect, you don't have to demand respect, and that's the difference. Some people feel that you owe them respect because you're old, or you're mature, or you've been around for a while. No. You still ain't shit because you old. You're just an old nigga that ain't shit. And that's real talk. Just because you old don't make you wise. Doesn't make you old. There's some old fools out there. It is what it is. So, but yeah, man, it was a great dealing with him was a great experience, and like I said, dealing with Medusa. It was a great experience to hear hip hop from a female perspective who's been in the game just as long as I have, from another angle. And that's the part when you because a lot of women justify what they hear. Oh, the Cardi B, they just do the so. No. That's some strip hop shit. And strip hop needs to be in a certain category, in a certain place. It ain't for everybody. But you make it for everybody because everybody, ain't nobody saying nothing. And that's your problem. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah. We lost a hip hop pioneer this week. Yeah. Batman Scoop, 53 years old. Very recognizable voice. He's done songs with a lot of people. Yeah, he just collapsed on stage. It was it was hard to watch him collapse. But man, 53 years old, Lonzo. That's young, man. Going back to what we were talking about last week about just keeping your health up.
I tell people all the time, man, you can't eat everything, stay up all night, smoke everything, drink everything. And like I said 1,000 times in the past, you ain't never seen a rap artist endorse no water. I'm on the record. Pass me the Avion, pass me some sparklers. No, niggas they got everything but some water in the commercial. You ain't never seen nobody do a water commercial or endorsement. Never. They got everything but water. They got everything for your body except for what you need, some water, and they got everything else though. And you can't. I don't know what his vice was. I can't say. I don't know what up to say he had a vice. But at 53 years old, you shouldn't be. They shouldn't be planning a funeral. Put it that way. You shouldn't be planning a funeral. You know, sometimes cats just don't pay attention to their bodies. And you know, I was talking about this today as I prepared for my prostate cancer walk. Me and one of the doctors that I'm doing the presentation with, I was just saying how Black men especially don't even think about going to the doctor till they get a lump or feel some pain or start seeing blood. Nigga, by the time, whatever it is already doing what it's gonna do. You gotta catch it before it does what it's gonna do. And that's a problem that we have. We just fear the doctor. I used to have that fear. I used to have that same fear. Thinking you're gonna go in there, he's gonna find something. Well, you want him to find it if it's something there to be found, okay? And that is a reality that some people like to deal with. The possibility that you may have something that needs to be dealt with. Most cats don't want to deal with it, and then it's like you hear your brakes squeaking, but you won't change your brakes. All of a sudden now you need pads, you need rotors, and all bearings and everything else. If you change them goddamn pads when they first heard them squeaking, you wouldn't need all these other parts.
Yep. I go at least once a year. If I have to go more, I go more for other stuff, but at least once a year just to check under the engine, make sure everything's good, make sure I'm fine. And I just had a conversation with a really good friend yesterday that hasn't been, and he's a little bit older than me, hasn't been in several years. I'm like, bro, you need to go to the doctor, man. Like, come on, man. This is where shit starts to happen.
One of my good partners didn't go to the doctor ever. He told me this. Ain't never been doctor for his life. All of a sudden, he was doing shows. He couldn't hardly do the show. He finally went to the doctor. He had 90% blockage in one of his arteries and 75 in another. He had to go get some serious shit done. And he's good now, but at that time he had never been to the doctor before. We talked about going to the gym. He laughed. I ain't going to picking up shit. Okay. They'll be picking your ass up.
Man, pay attention, people. Pay attention. Blatanio Todd, shout out to Hood Smokers Podcast. I'll be on their show in a few weeks, so make sure you subscribe to Blatanio Todd's channel right there. Serious random question for Lonzo. I didn't get the chance to ask, are there any Wrecking Crew outfits in storage or in his possession still?
Yeah, mine. All mine is in my possession. Why, you want to buy one? I'm looking.
Can you still fit into it?
Yeah, right. Only thing my clothes still fit. That's it. Okay. I was clowning one day. I got my black suit sitting over here in the studio, and I just somebody was over here with kicking it, and I was just gonna put it on. Man, I couldn't get that thing past my wrist. I couldn't get it past my wrist. It don't do a damn thing. People find it hard to believe I ever fitted that damn thing. So yeah, I do have all my costumes. I have my shirt. I'm a hoarder like that. And at some point in time, somebody's gonna find me a big old fat check, and I'm gonna sell all this shit. I can't wear it. No place. I can't do nothing with it. And what I don't want to happen is the shit end up in a Goodwill someplace. So yeah, I would like to sell all this shit. Tell you the truth, I got all my tapes. I got tapes. I got pictures. I got all kind of stuff. You know, and I watched Kool Herc make about damn near $1 million on a Sotheby's auction. And I was saying, I could do that. I could do that. And because he did that, I had a debate, or I was having a debate with some folks from the Universal Hip Hop Museum, and they were going to donate. I said, wait a minute, hold on, Doc. If Kool Herc, the person that founded this hip hop thing, y'all give him credit for that, could sell all his stuff, he didn't worry about donating. He may have kept some things to donate, but for the most part, he got his money. And I pretty much feel the same way. I have no problem with being represented, but I know what I've seen